Better to be wrong than right. I mean, this is just a rule. This is a rule that does not go for everything. At the end of the day, life is about balance. That is a fact. But this is a rule that I feel like if I would have followed younger, it would have saved me a lot of time. And what do I mean by like it is better to be right than wrong? So like perfect example, right? I'm currently working at my job for like 2 months, and it's really like heavily tip based. I live in New York City type shit, so tips really be helping. And working at Dispo, I get really good tips. But during the August and summer months specifically, we haven't had a lot of customers, right? And this month they told me they had to reduce my hours by like 4 hours every week. I normally work 10-hour shifts, so I'm working nine, right? But this is, like I said, my second month of working there. This is also my first month in my new place. And yeah, I'm not that fucked. Normally is like you have a lot of people living the paycheck to paycheck, which I'm not coming at them at all. But I never expected my job to cut down my hours by four. And I definitely know that there's a lot of people that those 4 hours really do fucking matter. People got bills, kids, college expenses, all different types of shit should be happening, and for emergencies. But yeah, when I first got that job, I already calculated in my head what's the lowest amount I'm gonna make from this job and what's the highest amount, right? So I don't have my expectations too high. Keeping the stack, I think I calculated my highest around 3,200 and my lowest around 2,700. That's why I calculated, right? And with the 3,200, I'll be able to like save 500 a month, right? I wasn't able to save my monthly goal, right? Sadly, but the mere fact that I have my rent and my bills money to the side already, that's God grace already. That's more than enough. So that being said, I used the lowest amount that I calculated instead of the highest amount. And whatever money I had extra, I'll just put it in my savings. And I'm really glad I did that. Because like I remember when I first got job offers, right? You already know how it is. They tell you that you're getting like 18 $20 an hour, your base hourly pay. And they tell me how many hours a week you're expected to have, that you're going to have, right? I would do that calculation, take a little bit money off the tips, and that's what I would put in my head as like, yo, this is how much I'm fucking making, right? This is how much I'm making. Bruh, so much shit happens, right? So much shit fucking happens. And a lot of times it's like, yo, that's what I should be making, but that's not what I'm making. And then when you go back and you look at your pay stubs, you look at your taxes, and you look at how many hours you work, and then you realize you came 3 minutes late here, you came 2 minutes off your break this time, bruh. And you also got fucking certain jobs, right? That'll tell you how many hours you're working, right? And I guess they just forget to deduct the lunch. Real talk, like the hour break or 30-minute break or whatever type of break. And then you're just fucking like in your head, you're like, yo, I expected this much, but you're not getting that. You know what I mean? And then you kind of fuck, and then you're just mad. You're mad because you already planned in your head what you're going to spend that money on. But at the same time, it's like, yo, maybe I shouldn't have my expectations too high. When you underestimate and then it comes out to overestimation, that is just, you're just blessed. It's just a win-win. It's that, and this go back to my saying, it's better to be wrong than right sometimes. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Everything's about balance. Everything's about balance. And this saying just goes as far when it comes to my creative and professional journey. During my presidential charade in college, while I was doing FFS, I remember the first month I wanted to do a photo shoot every week at my fashion club. That was crazy. That was brutal. I don't know why I did that. It was so much gear. It was just insane. And then I think it took me like 6 to 8 weeks to get in a flow and realize I got to do a photo shoot every 2 weeks, because I want to do a photo shoot every week and release the photos every week. I mean, I overestimated. I over challenged myself. You know what I mean? And also, something I may add is when you overestimate and when you over challenge yourself and when you don't hit those goals hit you. They hit you hard emotionally. They hit you because you didn't achieve them. And now you're feeling like shit. And now your mental is off. And that's real. And that's something we're trying our best to avoid. Yeah, there's a lot of times when I did a lot of photo shoots, I had expectations, And a lot of times those expectations didn't meet. Models will come late. Things will happen. Fucking clothes are just unironed and dirty. You makeup artists didn't bring certain makeup or a concealer for certain skin tones. Weather. I hate doing outside photo shoots most of the time because the weather is a big factor. You really gotta plan that, and sometimes the weather can change in 3 days or fucking 2 days ahead, right? Better to underestimate than overestimate. But like I said, everything in balance. And I just want to say a personal experience of mine of when this underestimation really got into my head. I'm lucky to grow up with a father, even though I don't talk to him now. And we probably won't talk to each other in years, real talk. But I am lucky to grow up with a father. That's something I would say. And one of the lessons he taught me in life was basically take shit from me, because if you could take shit from me, you could take it from other people. You know, I don't know how it is with other family dynamics, but that's how I was taught. And my dad would be on some bullshit. He would come into, like, if he had a bad day at work, he's on some shit. If he's feeling like Mr. Macho Cheese Man, beat on his chest, you gonna feel that masculine energy or whatever he's on. You know what I mean? And sometimes my dad will even bait me to see if I will fold. I think that's just how fathers and sons do shit. I don't fucking know, but from a lot of things I see is like fathers do that. They fuck with these sons to see like how much they're gonna take, because at the end of the day, that's their son. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, for 26 years, I was always respectful. So I guess it fucking worked, right? But taking a lot of bullshit from my father gave me so fucking much endurance to take bullshit from people. Like, oh my God. If you could take shit from someone you had to fucking see every day, right? Parents. If you could take bullshit from your fucking parents, it really does prepare you from taking bullshit from other fucking people. It's really nothing. Because, hey, when you're taking bullshit from other people at work, it's like, yo, you get paid for this shit. Real talk. And that's how you kind of really got to look at it. Just keep it professional and keep going to thy fucking bag. All right? And sticking on the topic of work, right? Because I want to transition from my dad fucking with me, building me a lot of character, and switching that for me knowing how to behave in a workplace. And a lot of times you're going to deal with bosses with egos. You're going to deal with bosses who don't like to be talked back to employees, especially they knowing like, yo, I'm paying you, fucker. I'm paying you out of my fucking pocket. I'm giving you hours, especially if you got some fucking benefits. My job ain't got no damn benefits. My job ain't got no damn benefits right now. First job I probably had in a long time with no benefits. So it's like, yo, bosses do have fucking egos. Majority of bosses do. And if they're fucking wrong, don't correct them, because that's not your job. Your job is to get paid and do what the fuck they tell you. To an extent. Within the guidelines of what your roles are in your job. I'm not saying let your bosses run you over or bullshit you, but you got to know how to play your cards. They don't want to feel like they're wrong. They don't want to feel like they're undermined. Bosses love to be listened to. They don't want to listen to someone who talks a lot. And to really just round this whole conversation up and put it in a nice package is, it is better to be wrong than right. But I think the deeper layer, if we can go a little further, is, I guess, a little bit of humility in this. But to really just knock it off, it's not really humility that I feel like is the message. The message is really just pick your battles. It is humility, because you gotta have humility to pick your battles. And you do have to have an understanding of yourself. You gotta know how to check your fucking ego. You gotta realize, like, yo, is winning this really the goal? You winning or losing the battle does not determine the war. You gotta understand your goals. You gotta understand you gotta understand, like, my reactions to certain scenarios. Is it gonna be getting me closer, or are you gonna bring me further along in my goals? And that is a determining factor of how you should move. But that key lesson, it is better to be wrong than right. It's better to underestimate than to overestimate. It goes a long way, especially when it comes to your professional field. When you're working with a client, it's better to tell them you will give them to, like, let's say within 7 days, and you know you're fully capable of giving them within 4 days. You know that. Give it to them, tell them it's 7 days, and give it to them in 4. Now, that's a lesson I learned from my mentor, Jeff, and I kind of fucked up. He gave me the opportunity to do a shoot and some videos for this card club, and I kind of fumbled it because I told him I'd give him the video in 3, and he checked my shit on some real stuff. He checked me. He's like, yo, you promised me you would give it in 3. I told him that you would give it to me in 3. He ended up giving it to me in 7, and that makes me look bad, and that's unprofessional. He said, look, kid, it's better to underpromise and overdeliver. And I love Jeff for that lesson. And I'm 26 years old. And I know for a fact that lesson can do so much fucking good help in the right hands. All right. So, hey, peace, love, and hair grease, all that great jazz. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope this year it's just burning with nothing but ambition and clarity. All right.